Welcome to the People Sports Podcast. I am Mark Titus. She is Charlotte Wilder. And we are here for another week of talking about sports. It's what we do on the show, Charlotte. It is the People Sports Podcast. If you're listening to us and you want to see, last week, I got to say, Charlotte, I had a man bun, and in some corners of the internet, it caused quite a stir. So I want to plug at the top our YouTube channel. Do not tell the people whether I have a man bun or not this week. Keep it to yourself.
I will
Don't
not.
tell them.
There is no way on God's green earth that I am about to tell anybody what your hair looks like. I will say though, it's pretty good. So the people might want to go check it out.
It might be a man bun. It might be wet. That happens sometimes. I look like a professional wrestler. I just get out of the, why do pro wrestlers always have wet hair? I don't understand.
That's your Seth Rollins look. Or was it Roman Reigns? That's what I'm trying to say.
Their hair is always like an unusual wet too. It's like not water. They're putting something in it, and I got to figure out what the hell it is. And it stays wet they'll do like 2-hour-long matches.
We should do an investigative piece on what two wrestlers use to make. I'm thinking it's oil, honestly, but like that's probably so gross to put that much oil in your hair, and that because they're always like shiny too. But like, maybe I'll try it next week. Maybe we'll come on and I'll just have like really grossly wet hair.
What is the baby oil budget for the WWE? It's in the millions
baby
of dollars.
Oil. I was thinking olive oil, but that gets pricey. That's not what you want ever.
Oh my god. Listen, it's we're recording this. It's April 21st, so that means 420 happened this past week from the people last heard from us. How'd you celebrate, Charlotte?
Hell yeah!
I know you're a big weed person. You love the marijuana.
I love the drugs.
You're a drug person.
I'm actually like I think a lot of people see my tweets. And like a response that I get a lot is just in reply to a tweet that I've just thought was funny. I thought of it like 10 in the morning as I'm eating toast. And they're like, how high are you? Or like, how stoned are you? And I'm like, I'm actually like never really stoned, to be honest. And anyone, like, if you need to wonder why, it's because like read my tweets. Like I'm doing fine. I'm weird enough without it.
Like what's more embarrassing when you fire off tweets at like 1 p.m. and people think you're stoned? Is it that you're not stoned, or that like what's more embarrassing, that you are or that you aren't? I don't know.
I don't know at this point.
Answer is there. Do you feel like 420 has lost its luster now that weed is legal everywhere? Because it seems to me like it has. It feels like who cares?
Yeah, I also think that the internet killed it, like 420 and 69, like my favorite jokes, like I forgot last year or 2 years ago on April 20th, I set an alarm. No, on June 9th, I set an alarm for 4:20 p.m. and I took a screenshot and I tweeted it, and I was like, oh God.
How high were you when you tweeted it?
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm like stone cold sober by myself in my apartment. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's gotten soft?
I think so. I think as a guy who's very much not a weed guy, I always observe 420 from afar. 420 was like Hanukkah to me. It was like I know friends who participate, but I am not part of that culture. So I gotta be well versed on it so I can have conversations with friends, but also I'm not partaking. And
you got to know the story of Passover and like what the various acronyms mean, like THC, like how high were the Israelites
Sativa
when they were leaving?
Indica.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway, it just feels like it's not like it feels like it was always cool because you weren't supposed to do it, and now it's like the government's like, yeah, man, smoke weed, and you're like, I don't know.
Right, you're like. It's like the parents who would buy the kids beer to have their party, and I'd be like, well, now I don't want to go.
No, this is like, all very strange.
I have to tell you, Mark, I'm not a big weed guy either, and no, that's not a judgment. It's just a personal preference. I drink a lot of wine. But the other day I realized that I had I'd gone to the store and I came back with a ton of kombucha, a few of these like turmeric, like wellness shots or something. I did some yoga and I scheduled an acupuncture appointment.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God, I don't smoke weed?
Yeah, what the hell, Charlotte? And you don't live in LA? How is that possible? How
I
is
mean,
that? You
Brooklyn.
check all
I live in
yeah, that's true. Brooklyn is this
I've started dressing like I'm just becoming my final form of Aunt Char. I wear like mostly beige and like linen, and I'm just like, you know what? Here we go. It's
no,
time. I'm 32 now.
Yeah, part of getting older is just like not like that's part of not caring. Like even if you are a stereotype in a lot of ways, as long as you don't care, let it ride, you know? Like who cares? It doesn't matter.
Totally fine with it.
That's fine.
I think maturity is just accepting that you are who you are.
You are, yeah, exactly. You're like, who cares? This is who I am.
Like you try to change the toxic stuff, but like the rest of it, you're like, well, I guess we're stuck with this.
Well, some people don't try to change the toxic stuff. They're just like,
I know. Right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
I call it like I see it, and you can't handle it.
Speaking of kombucha, if the people are watching on YouTube, they'll know whether I'm drinking it right now or not.
I became a kombucha guy when I moved to LA because I said yes to everything when I moved out here, including growing my hair out, obviously. But kombucha, I didn't even know what it was. Someone I used to work with at theringer.com was a big kombucha person, and they were like,
yeah.
I walked into their office one time and asked them what they were drinking. Well, I was like, what the hell is that? Are you drinking beer right now? And they're like, no, it's kombucha. I was like, what is kombucha? And then they explained it to me. Long story short, I'm at LAX like 2 weeks later, like probably flying back to Ohio. And I see kombucha at one of the little convenience stores. And I'm like, what the hell? I'll try it. When in Rome, right? I guess that's what the people drink out here. And I buy it and I see all the like, is it the cultures? The stuff that like hangs out at the bottom?
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. And I was like, oh, this one needs to be shaken up. So I start going like that.
Oh no!
And I'm about to get on my plane, and I open it, and that thing just exploded everywhere. And
wait, the same exact thing happened to me once when I was driving like a long distance, and I didn't realize it had gotten shaken up, and I opened it, and it just like exploded everywhere.
I still drink kombucha from time to time, and I think the only reason I drink it, I think the only reason I drink it is just to like win. I'm trying to like get revenge on that incident somehow. Like I feel like if I become anyway, who cares?
That feels very much like something you would do, so I believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just really into probiotics, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Can we figure out? We are the People Sports Podcast. We're here to talk about sports. We have to remind ourselves. I know I say that like every week, but it's just I have to say it out loud. So I remind ourselves.
We sort of dip in and out to a certain extent.
We could pivot to kombucha podcast, and I'm sure
I'm cool with it.
People would love
it. People would love it.
We have to, as we usually do at the start of these shows, figure out what the hell we want to talk about, and we do that by starting with what we don't want to talk about. And one thing I definitely do not want to talk about because it will get me fired up. It will get me hot. I will get heated. I will be an old man ranting if I talk about this. So I'm not going to talk about it. Okay. Is that the Indianapolis Motor Speedway today, like less than an hour before this recording, announced that there will only be 40% capacity at the Indy 500 and Memorial Day weekend this year, including no infield general admission tickets. They might as well cancel the race, Charlotte. The race did not really happen last year. There were no fans last year. I was so looking forward to going to the Indy 500. It is my favorite sporting event in the world, as I've told you on this program before. I thought it's outside. A lot of the people in this country are getting vaccinated, myself included, Charlotte. I scheduled my vaccination.
Yes.
This is honest to God truth. I scheduled my vaccination in such a way that I would be double vaxxed by the time the Indy 500 came around. So I could go to Indy, not worry about it. Like go to the infield. It's outside. It is the biggest like track you've ever seen. I gotta send you one of these pictures where they have the track and they show what can fit inside the track, how big it is. Like the entire Vatican can fit like in one little small pocket of the track.
Stop it. Are you serious?
Yeah, it's enormous. It's an enormous track.
I didn't know that.
So I thought surely if there's a sporting event where they'll let people go, it would be the Indy 500 where you can go in the infield and be spaced out outside and people are vaccinated and whatever. And long story short, it's not happening. I found this out this morning. It has ruined my week. I'm very upset.
So
I'm not getting the second shot. I already got the first shot. I'm like, you know what? I don't need
Mark, we are not retaliating at an inanimate event by not getting vaccinated. That's what we're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it.
I'm going to get hot. So let's not talk about it.
I'm sorry, man. Like it's tough, right? Because you want everyone to be safe, but it's also like, what if you just made people get vaccinated and then let anybody in? I don't know.
I know. No, I honestly thought I really talked myself into it. I was like, it's I mean, I can't explain how big this track is, that there's more room. You could have, like, people literally set up, like, little camps. Like, they set up their little, I mean, you could have, like,
Should I Google? What do I search?
Here, I'll try to pull it up right now.
Indy 500 infield
size or
overhead
something. Yeah.
shot. Holy mackerel. Are you kidding me?
Did you find one where it could show, like, all the football stadiums that fit inside, or, like, all the... That's the one you got to find. Is like
I found it.
A picture of, like, of the Rose Bowl.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
How long is that track?
2.5 miles.
500 miles?
Yes, they just do one lap.
Yeah.
It's 2.5 miles. And anyway, I saw that. I saw that right before we came on air,
I'm sorry, Mark. Did you go? You go every year, right?
I go every single year. This will be 2 years in a row now that I won't go. This is how I spend Memorial Day. Is if I lived on Mars, I would find a way to go back to Indianapolis Memorial Day weekend to go to the race. And
do you go with your dad?
Yeah, we've gone. We go a few times, but when I got a little older and I started wanting to just go hammer beers in the infield, my dad was like, "You go ahead and go yourself. You have fun on your own."
Okay, cool.
I guess I could still go. They're still letting fans in. You could sit in the bleachers. You have to wear a mask. Like, it just kind of, I don't know. I guess.
Well,
I
so
should
that's
still
what I
go,
want to
but-
ask you. I want to ask you, what do you think? At what point is it worth going to something that is not its full self, but you're still going to it? Like, I kind of feel like maybe you should give it a shot.
Still go?
Like, yeah. I mean, because what would bum you out more, going and being like, okay, well, I'm here. It's not what it normally is, but I'm here, or being like, no, I'm just not going at all. Like, do you?
Well, the flip side is, like, I was thinking of having a party, because I did this last year where I watched. I didn't have a party. I just watched it alone. But, like, there was something.
Oh my God, sorry. I'm like, Mark, is your definition of a party like hanging out?
But my
by
thought
yourself?
is, now I could have, like, a handful of friends in LA, maybe come over, and I'll throw the race on, and it'll be my chance to, like, kind of show it off to them and say, like,
well, you live in their culture, so you
I
can
could
show
show
them
off
your
my
culture.
culture and be like, this is the race. Let's all watch it together. Let's all, like, gamble on who's going to win, that sort of thing.
I think that sounds like a
So I
lovely
might
idea.
do that. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. But anyway, we're not going to talk about it. We're definitely
Maybe
not
I'll
going to
fly
talk
out to
about
LA
it all,
for Memorial Day
you fly
weekend
out.
for your party. Wouldn't that be hilarious if I went to LA just to watch the Indy 500 at your apartment? It's like, are you guys doing a show in person this week? And we're like, no, I'm just here for the race.
Just for the race. That's it. The race that's going on 2,000 miles that way? You're like, yep, that one. That's the one.
I went to LA for the Indy 500.
A couple other things I don't want to talk about. Trevor Lawrence has donated $20,000 to Jacksonville charities, which seems a little presumptive, does it not, Charlotte?
I hate that. I saw that. I got an alert on my phone, and I was pissed. I was like, first of all, this is why we're not going to talk about it, because I was like, okay, look, I like Trevor Lawrence. Also, he just got married. Did I search that wedding hashtag? I sure did. Did I look at his girlfriend's pictures of it? I did. Did I watch their wedding video?
Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down on the wife. Just that we got to. I don't want you to nuance it. I just want you to give me, like, it doesn't have to. Just tell me, like, would you want to hang out with her? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Okay.
But that's probably because I'm like 10 years older, like
that's
11
true.
years
That's
older.
true. Yeah.
And she's this sorority girl from the South with all of her Southern friends, and they all like look nice all the time. And I would just be like, I'm old, and my beauty tips are like wear glasses. So it's more of I'm sure she's a lovely person. It's more that, like, I don't think we're quite at the same stage of life.
Right.
But so anyway, I looked at all that, which, we could talk about it.
we're not going to. We're not going to.
All right. Okay. All right.
We're definitely not going to.
I just want to say shout out to the overlap of people out there. There are not many of us who care about wedding hashtags and sports as equally.
At the same time.
I've gotten a few messages on Instagram from people who are like, thank you, I feel seen. And I'm like, if there are only 3 of us out there, that's fine. Okay, so I saw the $20,000 thing, and I was like, okay, first of all, how does Trevor... I was like, how does Trevor Lawrence have $20,000 he can just give away?
Well,
I was
mean,
okay,
go ahead.
I understand that, you can start doing endorsement deals now. I understand that he will be the #1 draft pick. I understand all of that. But if in my head, I was like, when I graduated from college, if you think I had 20 grand to give away, let alone like live on, you're wrong. And then I was like, so was there anything like, has he gotten that money already? Like, how do you have the liquidity?
Say it. Was he paid by Clemson? Say it.
No,
say it.
I'm not saying it. I'm just saying, how does he have, obviously, like, I think the players should be paid. So I don't care at all. And that's really, honestly, it was more of just like, how do you have 20 grand as a recent college grad who hasn't been drafted yet, which is the most absurd place for my brain to go, because obviously there are ways. And yet I was like, I don't get it. Also, 20 grand isn't that much. So I was like, it's an obnoxious amount of money, because it's not like a bunch of money that can really make change. Like, yes, it'll do things. Like, I'm not saying don't give if you can't give a ton of money, but as a number one draft pick, it's like a weird amount to me.
Yes. I would agree with that, but it's also, as you said, he's stuck in the weird zone because he has not been drafted yet and he doesn't have a contract. So like $20,000 to a guy who just left college is a ton of money. That is like, he's donating a ton of money. But if you frame it as the number one draft pick NFL player donated $20,000, you're like, that's not that much. And he's stuck in between. I was less focused on the money and more on the Jacksonville part, which felt very presumptive. And we all know he's going to go number one. But I mean, some decorum would be nice, Charlotte. Some like,
I know. I mean, tell me about what have sports become?
I mean,
what happened to gentlemanliness?
Yes. To waiting until it's official. You gotta, before you consummate the relationship, we gotta take it to the altar. Do we not? I mean, I'm
waiting for marriage, so I just feel like Jesus Christ, I just feel like.
We're not going to talk about it.
I do that. We're not going to talk about it anyway. But the bottom line is, it was a weird amount of money, and it was a weird thing to do in the first place. And like, what if Urban Meyer changes his mind? What if at the last second he's like, psych, and then they just got 20 grand from? What if he's like, Justin Fields, my guy, come on up. Also, why wouldn't you just take Justin Fields? I'm very much on the Justin Fields train, but I love whatever.
Justin Fields. I love you're preaching to the choir. I love Justin Fields, but I don't know. Well, the point is, we're not going to talk about it. So
sorry, we're not talking. That's why we're not talking about it.
I also do not want to talk about the Dallas Mavericks have announced that they are going to accept Dogecoin for tickets and merchandise.
I'm sorry, what?
Dogecoin. I believe that's how it's pronounced. I don't really know, but the
like
cryptocurrency.
An internet word for a dog, like a doge.
Yes, Doge.
I'm sorry. Have we gone through the looking glass to the point where you can pay for tickets to a sports game with a meme?
Yes, we're not going to talk about it because it's stupid. And Mark Cuban is Elon Musk of sports. I've always said this, and he's continuing to be Elon Musk of sports with this. So yeah, you can buy Dogecoin. Yes, Dogecoin was created as a joke, literally a meme. Literally, a guy who created it was like, cryptocurrency, I don't know if he said it was stupid, but he was just like, cryptocurrency is so dumb, like not in a bad way, but just dumb in a like, anybody can do this, just create a cryptocurrency. And in fact, I'm going to prove it by creating this thing I'm going to call Dogecoin based off of the dog.
That's like meme. 69 coin.
Yes, 69 coin is what he created. And then it has been memed to death by most famously Elon Musk, who is like, ride Doge to the moon, and then people do Doge memes. And then, long story short, the Dallas Mavericks have now announced that they, in the future, maybe now, I didn't read the full announcement. Is it now or is it in the future? Whatever. They are willing to accept Dogecoin as payments for tickets to their games. So,
Mark,
we're not going to talk about it.
My question to you is, what has this society become? That is no, but this is another one of my things where it's like, on one of the shows when you weren't here and someone asked me, what's your worst take? I kind of roasted myself because I was like, I didn't want an iPhone. I didn't want separate places for my music. I didn't want, and I still contend that my life would be a whole lot better if I didn't have those things.
I would agree with that.
So, I don't think we need Dogecoin. I also think it's awful for the environment. So, did you know that Bitcoin...
Oh, because of the servers?
The amount that it takes to mine, quote, because the whole thing is so stupid, Bitcoin. This is going to come back to bite me someday when I make a ton of money selling Bitcoin. But the amount of energy it takes to mine it or whatever outweighs all of the solar panels in the world.
Wait, really? To mine one Bitcoin?
Well, I don't know. I saw that on the internet, Mark, but you get my point. It's a lot of energy. You know, it's like, let's protect this earth. There's only one of them.
Yeah. Do you know what an NFT is, by the way? Do you feel confident enough to describe that? Well, if you had to stand in front of here's the question. I'll frame it this way. If you had to stand in front of a full arena of people at half court of an NBA finals game at halftime, the entertainment for your halftime show, is Charlotte Wilder has to pick between icing and an NFT and explain them, either one, to a crowd. Which one are you picking?
Oh my God, I still, Mark, after everything we've been through, I still don't know what icing is. I'm dead serious. Like, I'm sitting here being like, I think I'd rather explain an NFT, because an NFT is a piece of virtual art. It is a meme. It is a visual representation. Sometimes it moves, that has its own unique Bitcoin blockchain signature, so that you can't sell it to other people, but you have it. To which I say, what the actual bleep is that? Because I'm sorry, I can take a picture of it with my phone and now I have it. And like, what if I turn that into an NFT? Is that an NFT of an NFT? Like,
whoa.
I'm just saying.
You're
like, okay, Mark,
I've
started making beautiful toast in the morning. I have a design I make with peanut butter and honey, and it brings me a lot of joy. And I took a picture of it, and I was like, let's make this an NFT, an NF toast. You know, like,
yes, I'm listening. How much?
I don't know how.
How much?
How on earth? Also, one Bitcoin is like $2,000. Like, what is happening?
It's like $20,000, I think. But yeah,
whatever. It's so much money. Trevor Lawrence donated one Bitcoin to Jacksonville.
He donated one half of one NFT.
Wait, we're getting word that one Bitcoin is $60,000? Like,
it's up to 60?
What the heck?
I'm sorry, what?
Why am I getting so heated about this? Like, why do I... Oh, God.
This is why we're not going to talk about it.
Okay,
you did pretty good with the NFT description, by the way. I'll say this. I actually understood NFTs when they first started, not in like how the technology works, but like the thought of like, why would anybody want one? Because my friend brought that up to me. He goes, you following this NBA Top Shot thing? And I was like, a little bit. And he's like, why? I don't get it. Like, what's the point if like you own a GIF? Like, I could just see the GIF. And I was like, dude, what's the point of sports cards if it's a picture of Babe Ruth that I can look up on the internet? I can look up that picture on the internet. And he was like, whoa, good point.
It's sort of being like, I don't want to read books on my phone. You know, like that ship has sailed.
Mm-hmm. What's the point of any art? Like, you have like a Picasso painting. I could just take a picture of that and put it in my apartment. Like, what's the point of owning the actual Picasso? You know what I mean?
Oh my God, you're blowing my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
I just had I got a pit in my stomach. I was like, oh my God, what?
It's making sense. It's all adding up.
Well, apparently though, I'm not. I was going to say what NFTs are going to do to the fine art market, which is already a mess, but I don't think we need to get into that. What else you got for me, Mark? What other headlines?
Well, I feel like that stuff we shouldn't talk about, so thank God we didn't spend any time on any of that stuff. What I would like to talk about, it feels like there are two things happening in the sports world right now that has everyone's attention, and I feel like we should talk about those. One of them, maybe this is what we start with, is the rise and fall of the European Soccer Super League that lasted like 36 hours and just came out of nowhere like a meteor and just exploded. I had no idea this was happening. I'm not as plugged into soccer as I wish I was. I love soccer. It is my favorite sport to watch. I mean that literally. I'm not saying that for effect. I genuinely love just throwing on soccer games, but for whatever reason, it's like hard to follow, and especially the Premier League, living on the West Coast is impossible to follow because those games are...
Well, you'd have to get up at, what, 3 in the morning?
Yeah, they start... So I've kind of like fallen out of like following soccer, but if there's a soccer game on, I'm watching it 100%. Right. I'm putting it on and watching it. So that's my... So I say that to say that like I love soccer, and even this came out of nowhere to me. I did not know anything about this. It just one day I logged on to the internet. I signed in. I typed in my password on the internet. I was like, I'm going to do some internet today. And I hit enter. And then it said Super League Europe. And I was like, what the hell? Where did this come from? And then it disappeared immediately. What's that?
About the logging on, and we'll get into its disappearance, but logging on and seeing Super League, and like all of a sudden there was just so much drama about it. I felt like everybody had known about this for years, and I was the only one who didn't know what was going on.
I felt the exact same way. Like this has been talked about for like 8 years, and they finally are doing it. And I was like, well, why am I just now hearing about this? I was like, is this my fault or your fault for not telling me? Like, whose fault is this? What's going on here?
I don't, and why, and like, what? Like, yeah. I just felt, I immediately felt stupid and out of the loop when the Super League happened.
This is what's so hilarious about it is like, it comes out of nowhere. I was like, how do I not know about this? I mean, the basics are pretty simple. Like all the richest clubs in Europe, the ones that quote unquote matter, got together and were like, why do we need these other bums? Let's just start our own league. But I wanted to read about the specifics because I was like, yeah, this blindsided me. I knew nothing about this.
Yeah.
So as I started reading about it, news broke that it's off. You know what I mean? Like as I finally got to a point where I sort of understood what happened, everyone's like, yeah, it's all the English clubs have backed out, so it's not happening anymore.
I also love that it's somehow like at one point during this whole thing, JP Morgan was trending on Twitter because of a European Super League soccer situation, and people were livid. And I was like, is this the communist revolution? Like, is it going to be? Are we going to get socialism because of the Super League? Like, is that what this has come to?
Oh, definitely. I think if there's like a global type shift in things, it's going to happen because of either sports or trash television. Those are the two things that I feel like can like shift geopolitics.
This is what we've come to. I mean, you know, yes, that is so true. And so I was like, oh, okay, so this is the revolution. Like I should get my copy of the Communist Man. Do you know there's this there's one tweet that I think of on Twitter a lot where it's from like 2015 where someone tweeted, welcome to Twitter. Here's your copy of the Communist Manifesto and a subscription to Monday Night Raw. Because like everybody on Twitter is always just like tweeting about wrestling or like socialism. And that's not true anymore, but that was definitely anyway. So yeah, I feel like they were the general sentiment. I'm going to be honest, Mark, I don't fully understand what happened, but I get the idea that
the gist is this. The gist was this, Charlotte. Here's what happened.
Can you mansplain this to me?
I'll mansplain this to you. And this is the blind leading the blind. This is the equivalent
Tell
of like
me like I'm 5. Tell me like
this is like a 7-year-old explaining it to a 5-year-old. So like anyone who's like 8 or older is listening to this and is saying like, what? No.
Shout out to our 5-year-old fans.
So there are a handful of soccer leagues in Europe, as we know. There's a Spanish league. There's the English Premier League seems to be the most popular, certainly stateside. I don't know if it's because it actually is the best. I would assume so, but also maybe it's just because the commentators speak English, and that's why we like it the most over here. There is a French league that basically only has one team that matters: Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain. Saint-Germain.
Saint-Germain.
Saint-Germain.
I once got a T-shirt of that.
There's a German league that's pretty good, but it's also pretty top heavy. Bundesliga. There's an Italian league called Serie A. So there's all these leagues. They have a Champions League, the UEFA Champions League, where every year the best teams from the year before compete concurrently, which means at the same time, I believe, as their domestic leagues. So say like every year the Champions League is made up of like the top 4 teams from England, the top like 3 from Germany or something like that, the top 2 or 3 from Italy, and they all like have this Champions League going on at the same time. So like you'll play so they're not excluded from their domestic league. They're just playing double the games. Same time. They play like double games, yeah. And then they have like these little windows built in where it's like now it's Champions League time, and they're competing for this Champions League now. Wait. That's what the Champions League is? No, not yet. This was the system pre-Super League. No, but not the Super League, but the Champions League. That's what the Champions League is. Yeah, is all the best teams in Europe competing. So what was happening is basically the English league. I believe you get 4 spots, and this is the part where it starts to fall apart because I don't entirely remember how the system works. But in the Super League. No, in the Champions League. In the Champions League, you would get the top 4 teams. Whoever would qualify based on the season before. The top 4 teams get to go into the Champions League. All right. Yeah. So what was happening is that the richest teams in England were looking around saying like, this is bullshit that like we have to qualify for this. Like I'm Manchester United. I make more money than everyone else. Why do I have to actually go earn it on the field? I should be in the Champions League already. I should get a free pass.
What?
That's what people want to watch. They want to watch me. They don't want to watch Leicester City. Congratulations, Leicester City. You won the Premier League. Take your damn trophy. Get the hell out. No one wants to watch you in the Champions League. That's what they were saying, basically.
Do you know what this is? Do you know what the Super League is? That all of those teams that are saying that, even if they haven't earned it, or if they used to be great, or if they, whatever their status is, that's Boston sports.
Yes, it's Boston sports.
All of those teams that are like, everybody wants to watch us. We matter the most.
We matter the most.
Why would anybody not like us?
So here's the thing, though. They're not wrong. All the best teams and all these teams in Europe are the teams that everybody wants to watch. And so they all got together and they're like, we are the only teams that matter. Nobody cares about Fulham. Nobody cares about West Bromwich Albion. They care about Liverpool, Man United, et cetera, Man City. Like, these are the ones they care about. So they called up Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Juventus and whoever else. And they were like, we're the only teams that people care about. Why don't we just like cut the fat, start our own league? And we don't have to qualify for it or anything. Like, we're in because we matter. And we'll make
even more money.
And we'll make even more money because, like, everybody will watch us because who the hell wants to watch those other teams? It's the equivalent of
It's what you say the NBA is becoming.
The NBA is becoming that. Who wants to watch the Pacers play the Pistons when all we really care about is the Lakers and the Celtics and the on and on and on, right? So that's kind of what they did. They decided to all trim the fat. People lost their minds, obviously, and then apparently it's not happening now. So that's pretty much it. But what a fun 36 hours it was.
I love that fans. It was like a populist uprising. They were like, "You will not take our teams from us," because that's essentially what was going to happen, right? Like, the other leagues would atrophy to the point where
nobody would care. Yeah,
right. It wasn't sustainable. Yeah, so basically, it would have turned soccer in Europe into those teams only.
Yes, yeah, and so that ultimately what happened was like FIFA, UEFA, I believe like all these governing bodies, because the Super League was going to be governed by its own deal. So all these other existing governing bodies said, if you do the Super League, you're done. You're out of our stuff forever. Like, you can't play in the World Cup, you can't play in the Euro, which is a big deal to the European people. So if you're a player and you play, it's not as big of a deal in like in Iowa for some reason. The Euro, I don't know why.
Weird.
If you play in those, you will not be able to ever play in the World Cup is kind of what they said. And I don't know if that was true or if they were just threatening it, but whatever. Long story short, it backed up.
And so then yesterday it kind of all fell apart, right?
Yeah, it all fell apart.
Or I guess on Tuesday rather. And I just had a field day tweeting about it because I had no idea what was going on. Then all of a sudden I realized what was going on, and I realized that the story that was happening was not happening anymore as I was catching up on what was supposed to be happening. And I just completely lost my mind because my favorite thing in the world, Mark, I am obsessed with defunct sports leagues. I'm dead serious. I think like the XFL, the AFL.
Is the XFL defunct?
Okay. No.
It's back-ish. It's defunct it's twice defunct. And this is 3.0 with The Rock, right?
Yes.
Okay.
This is 3X, 3FL.
I know what you mean. I know, and I know what you mean though. XFL 1.0 is very different than what XFL 3.0 is.
And
so, like,
I loved 2.0. I thought 2.0 was the sweet spot. I was obsessed with it. It was like the XFL was like, at one point I had all these metaphors for what the XFL was, but the XFL was like, the friend who, like, the NFL is the honor student, gets straight A's, gets into a good college, everybody's really proud of it. And then the XFL is just as smart, but didn't apply itself, gets in a little bit of trouble, ends up at community college, claws his way out, finally gets a 4-year degree, and then is just like running the coolest skate shop in town. And everyone's like, well, the XFL clearly came out on top. Like, that to me is the essence of 2.0. And I'm a little worried about 3.0. I mean, I was excited when I was coming to Fox and they still had the XFL. I was like, oh man, maybe I could do XFL stuff. And then, the pandemic
3.0,
happened.
yeah, we're going to have to keep an eye on 3.0. There's the potential's there for it to go too far. And now it's the kid that's living out of the van by the skate park. And you're like, that's not cool. You're 34. Get a job.
And his parents are super rich. So you're like, come on. We all see what you're doing. I don't know. What's your favorite defunct sports league?
I have two that come to mind when you ask me that. Number one is slam ball, which I think we've spent some time talking about on this show. I don't even remember how long it lasted. It was one. I remember it being like dominating one summer when I was in high school. There was a run of the And1 mixtape tour and slam ball at the exact same time, and I was just the right age to just be absolutely obsessed with both.
Totally.
And I don't remember how many years slam ball lasted, but I do remember that a guy like broke his arm or his leg in half, like had a compound fracture, just snapped in half, and that was. And then the guy goes to slam ball and he's like, "You guys are gonna pay for this, right, with your insurance?" And they were like, "Insurance?" And started tugging on their collar.
They're like, "Insurance? I hardly know her."
Yeah. And then I think that was the end of slam ball. I miss slam ball, so that was my first answer. The second one that comes to mind is speaking of like alternative football leagues. Is NFL Europe. Do you remember NFL Europe, Charlotte?
Yes.
There was a league in the summer where they would play in Europe, and it was I remember the Rain Fire were a team. I don't remember.
Fire?
It was Rain Fire. Yeah, I'm gonna look this up.
Okay,
actually.
I don't remember this. I think I might have just lied when I said I remember this because it sounded like something I remembered, but I would remember Rain Fire. What year was this?
Wait, is that how you pronounce Rain? Rhein? The Rain Fire.
Rhine?
Rhine? Is it Rhine? I always said Rain.
Buddy.
Rain was
I think that's a town in Germany.
It is in Dusseldorf, Germany.
Dusseldorf.
I'm not good at speaking any language other than
I do a really good
English
German
and
accent.
some Spanish. Dusseldorf. I can't do German or French. So, okay,
Accents or language?
Either one.
Like pronunciations?
I could speak Spanish. If you give me Spanish words,
I'm just saying I do a fairly decent German accent.
Oh, God.
Oh, yes. This is something I've worked very hard on for many years.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Well, it's okay.
I can do
I'm not warmed up.
I can do Australian if I've had a beer or two in me, but
I can't. So. To save my life.
Melbourne.
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 Wow.
Melbourne or Sydney?
Say. Oh, I've done this too before. This is so embarrassing. I'm starting to repeat my bits on the podcast. I think I've done this on this podcast. I was going to say, rise up lights.
Oh yeah, razor blades. That's that's the you
see.
Rise up lights.
Rise up lights.
Rise up lights.
Rise
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
I'm from Melbourne.
I just repeat it after you say it. Melbourne. Anyway, what were we talking about?
We were talking about NFL Europe, Rhine Fire. I'm sorry. The Rain Fire sounds so much cooler, so I'm sticking with that. It
Rain
was a
Fire
team.
sounds like the reboot of Fire and Ice. Did you ever have that restaurant?
Yeah.
You know?
Anyway, I looked it up. They were a team. I remembered correctly. They were a team in Europe. But anyway,
what year was that? When did that
NFL
happen?
Europe. When was NFL Europe? Let me look that up.
Was NFL Europe like 2008?
Yeah, that feels right. It was, again, like when I was in high school over the summer, right? That's what comes to mind.
Or like 05.
It was, it started in 91. It ended in 07.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
the 05 through 09 were just like the weirdest years.
Yeah.
Like people were going a little, like the internet was not new, but it wasn't what it is yet. And so, and people were just like, we're just wilding out all the time, and like you didn't know that everything was going to come back to bite you, and like sports leagues were getting weird with it, and like it was just sort of like the
extreme. They were just like, you just throw like XFLs, like X and the X Games. X, you know, there's literally a movie called Triple X with Vin Diesel.
Yes, and then you know they have like Four Loko, like original strength Four Loko, and kids are like losing their mind. Yeah, so. Anyway, NFL Europe is a good one.
A lot of guys with backwards hats showing up on your TV and be like, "What's up, kids?" and snapping their fingers like they're packing dip.
And like pictures of them like this, and they're like, but they're like all loser white guys from Colorado.
Steal your parents' credit cards and log on to our website. I think that's how Dude Perfect was started. It was just like watching those videos.
Yes, definitely, 100%.
Is there anything else on the Super League? I mean, do you have Defunct League? Is there another one other than XFL 1.0 that you love?
I mean, the AFL was really wild because it was Charlie Eberhard. Is that who it was?
That sounds right.
Was that the guy? Know. Yeah, I met him at a Super Bowl party once, and he was wearing an AFL starter jacket, and I was like,
"That's a good collector's item."
This guy's honestly committed to the bit.
Yeah,
But I don't know. That one was more sad because a lot of people just like, I mean, they're all sad, but like the XFL ended because of the pandemic and the AFL is just like, oh, we don't know how to manage our money.
It really is a bummer because I thought when I woke up this morning, I said to myself, I don't know why, I don't know how, it doesn't make any sense, but I really thought to myself, I would love if there were NFL football games on today.
Wow.
In April. I don't understand why that happened, but I just like woke up and I was like, man, it would be so dope if there were NFL games on. I would watch every second of them.
I get it. Because yesterday we started talking about the Chiefs, and then, you know, we have a list coming up that I put an NFL thing on, and I was like, man, I really like watching football.
It's great. It's not my favorite sport, but it's also like I don't know. It's like less a sport and more of just like a cultural just thing.
Yeah, it's like putting a movie on. Yeah, you're like, let's put a football game on.
Let's just throw a football game on.
And then you get obsessed, and you're like, what is
Can you
happening?
imagine going over to someone's house and they're just like going through their Rolodex? They're pulling out like VHS tapes and like, which football game you want to watch tonight? I got the 91 Super Bowl.
Eagles, Lions, 96? That's literally the plot of what's that movie? Jennifer Lawrence and what's this? Bradley Cooper. Not The Blind Side.
No, the one. I know what you're talking about. God,
The Weakest
Silver
Link.
Linings Playbook.
Silver Linings
Playbook. Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay. Right.
Back to the Super League. My final thought was just like the whole idea felt like something a 12-year-old would come up with, all the way down to the name Super League. The idea of just like why don't we just take like the best teams and like put them all together and like wouldn't that be dope? Like it feels like I was waiting. I was waiting for the press release where they were gonna say that like the Yankees were joining and the Lakers, and they're not playing soccer anymore. They're playing they're doing like a decathlon with all these guys.
Yes. Oh my God, I would watch that though.
Battle of the Network Stars, starring the Lakers, the Yankees, Real Madrid.
The greatest crossover event in history. No, I it's sort of like at recess when, you know, you had kids who'd be like, well, let's just take all the best kids. Like, what if the best kids make a team? And then other kids are like, because then it's not fun, you assholes. Like,
yes.
I'm not like, that's the whole point. And that's basically what fans said. They were like, are you kidding? Like, yeah, obviously Tom is better at football than I am. But like, that doesn't mean
but we want to watch
shouldn't
upsets.
play.
We want to see upsets. We want to see drama. We want to I
like,
don't know.
If they hadn't let me play, I never would have beat up Will McKenney on the soccer field in third grade. And that was one of my crowning moments. Shout out Will. I don't know what he's up to.
Will, come on the podcast. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Wow, it's when I say things like that, and I'm like, he could hear that.
He could hear that. He could.
For the record, so that he's not. I didn't beat him up. It's just we played soccer at recess every day, and then inevitably one of the boys would pick up the ball and turn it into football. And because of social constructs, the boys would only tackle each other. Like, they wouldn't give the ball to girls. They wouldn't tackle. And I was so pissed because whenever the ball got picked up, I knew that it meant soccer wouldn't be played anymore, and they would cut me out of it. So Will is running by. He's wearing like a Pat starter jacket, you know, the swishy nylon one. I reached out, grabbed him by the arm of his starter jacket, like the fabric, slammed him down on the ground and sat on him and took the ball away.
Oh my God.
And I was like, not today, Satan. And then we kept playing soccer.
He definitely remembers this and thinks about it all the time. And he's probably blocked you on Twitter because he doesn't want to see you pop up and just feed. And
listen, there's some people from elementary school who like my tweets every once in a while. So shout out Trevor.
I just watched, by the way, just the other day, it was on and I watched the whole thing, the Seinfeld episode where Jerry, the race, where he raced Duncan Meyer. Are you a Seinfeld person? Do you know?
Not big enough to know that.
He raced Duncan Meyer, his friend from high school, they weren't friends, they were rivals because they had this race where Jerry cheated and he got out to an early start, and now they're adults, and Duncan, he runs into him. And
I do.
And he's never lived it down, and he's like, we gotta restage this race so I can beat you. And then Jerry cheats again and inadvertently cheats and wins again, and Duncan's like, no.
Yes. Really good.
Anyway, enough of Super League talk. Let's talk about what is going to be the driving our list that we're making today, which is a man by the name of Stephen Curry. This is the other thing I believe that's going on in the world of sports.
Actually, Mark, I believe it's pronounced Steven. It's actually Steve Curry.
Have you thought about that Steve Kerr and Stephen Curry have basically the exact same names, and it's the coach and player?
Not until right now.
I think about it all the time.
Do you really? Holy crap. Steve Kerr, Steph Curry. Whoa. How did I never...
I've thought about this for 5 years, since 2016 when I realized it, and then it's
never once crossed my mind.
Now you'll never stop thinking about it. Steve Kerr and Stephen Curry are
You
basically
just
the exact
ruined
same
the
name.
NBA for me. Thanks, Kevin Durant. See what I did there?
I do, because I do
Through
want to
your
talk
own
about
take, back on you.
Kevin Durant did ruin the NBA, and Steph Curry's here to save it. And
I believe a quote from you when we were not recording one time was, Kevin Durant ruined the NBA. I'm not kidding. That's not a joke.
I'm not kidding.
I'm not
It's not even like I'm not trying to do shtick. The man ruined the NBA, and this is a good point because like this is actually relevant. I'll do the rant right now because it's relevant. 2016 was the greatest year of NBA basketball of all time. It had everything you would ever want. Every game I was locked into the entire regular season. The Oklahoma City Thunder were awesome. Kevin Durant was on that team. LeBron James was back in Cleveland trying to win an NBA title, bring a title to Cleveland, which, sounded ambitious, but it was also LeBron. So like maybe he's good enough to do it. The Warriors are chasing history. They end up catching the 96 Bulls and win 73 games. And that entire season, as all this is going on, Steph Curry he wins the MVP. He wins unanimous MVP because he is just blowing everyone's mind at what he's capable of doing on a basketball court.
Well, Mark, you know what people forget?
What's that?
That the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead with the 73-win season and the unanimous MVP in Stephen Curry.
Is that true? They did that?
Yeah, people forget. That was a meme that I would love to bring back. I
bring it back.
That.
Well, that's what Steph is bringing. Steph is revisiting 2016 season right now because, that entire regular season, it was the greatest regular season I ever remember watching in all my years of watching basketball. I was tuned into so many games. I was locked in on like who's going to win the title. This is so fascinating. Then the Warriors start then it sort of became Warriors Cavs, but also the Thunder were pretty good. We remember the Thunder were up 3-1 on the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. Klay Thompson goes nuts in Game 6 in Oklahoma City. They end up.
Was
the
Harden
Warriors,
still on Oklahoma?
No, he was not. It was Westbrook and Durant.
It was just Westbrook and Durant. That's right. And they had their little buddy dances on the bench and stuff. Yeah.
So the Warriors come back from down 3-1. Insane series in the Western Finals. They go on to the finals. They play the Cavs. As we know, the Cavs win in Game 7 in Golden State. LeBron comes down there. Like everything that you could have scripted was like just insane. It was the greatest season of basketball. Kevin Durant ruins the league and joins a 73-win team. And the moment that happens, the regular season is dead. The moment Kevin Durant says, I'm going to the Warriors, every single NBA fan is like, well, I'm not going to watch a second of the regular season because like it's going to be Cavs Warriors again, and and the Warriors are probably going to win, and he ruined the league. And I feel like ever since then, people have stopped caring about the regular season in the NBA, and it's not even just me, Charlotte. It is the players themselves don't care. The players themselves are sitting out of games, and this year's gotten really bad. Guys are sitting out more often. They're getting hurt because like the schedule is crazy because of the COVID situation of like trying to jam pack games in, and the whole thing is weird. I saw Fred VanVleet talked about it, like it's like the joy, the love for the game isn't there anymore. It's just like purely feels like a business thing where we're playing these games just to cash checks. The point is, all of this is going on, and it feels like the regular season in the NBA is in trouble. And I don't mean to say like the league is going to fold. I'm not like being an extremist. It's just like, how can we get people to care about the regular season again? Steph Curry says, remember me? Remember 5 years ago when I gave you the greatest regular season you'd ever seen? I'm back, bitch, and I'm on fire.
He is the things he's doing. I feel like every time I log onto Twitter, he's broken a new Michael Jordan record.
Yes.
Or like there's a new, what was it against his brother too. That's pretty bad. Did he have a 49-point game?
He had 49-point game. So the stats of note, in the last 10 games, he is averaging over 40 points a game. In the last 10 games. And he's doing it with 55, 50, 91 shooting splits, which might not mean anything to you, but if you follow basketball closely, that is like absolutely mind-blowing that he's shooting those percentages. He has had 30-plus points in 11 straight games. He has had 6 games this season, Charlotte, where he has made 10 or more three-pointers. This season, no player in NBA history has had 5 or more than 5 in their entire career, and he has 6 this season.
That's insane. I feel like, I was thinking about it. I was watching some highlights, and he moves as though, I don't know that there's any athlete I guess besides Pat Mahomes, who moves in ways that seem to defy physics like that.
Yeah.
Like he does things that he'll take a shot and you're like, there's no way you're going to make that from like the other hoop on the other end. Like, and he'll make it. And as it's going in, you don't believe it, but then it happens. And it's a kind of thing where if a pitcher were having this kind of a season, I would 100% think they were cheating.
Yes.
I'd be like, they are putting something on the ball, like something is going, this is not possible. And yet, I don't think there's any way that Steph could be cheating. Like, I don't think it's...
There's really no way to cheat in basketball.
There's no way to cheat.
I mean, you could juice your body, I guess, and like...
But I mean, even then, he's still littler than everybody. So, like, who cares, right?
And the skill is the part that's amazing. It's not like... No one's watching Steph Curry and you're like, man, what great endurance. You're saying, like... It's insane that he's making these shots, and there's really no way to cheat that.
It's like finesse. It's like watching someone make you know... Do you ever... All right. There's this Instagram account that I really like that carves fruit into sculptures.
Okay.
And one time this guy made he turned the tip of a pencil into a tiny sculpture, a tiny graphite sculpture of a feather. And watching him do that, you're like, what? Nobody likes this as much as I do. I've tried to show many people, but I think it's incredible. And that's what it's like watching Steph Curry play basketball.
Okay, so you're saying your greatest athletes right now are the guy who sculpts the tips of pencils.
You should see what he does to avocados, man.
The guy who carves avocados at Steph Curry, kidding. Right up. 1A, 1B for you. Your
His
MVP.
Pumpkins on Halloween were out of control.
Your NBA MVP is the guy who carves pumpkins. All right, got it. I think I'm tracking what you're saying.
They're orange. The basketball's orange.
So yes, Steph is playing like this is. I guess for me, what's so exciting about this is that Steph is making the regular season matter in a sense of like, first of all, the Warriors are fighting for a playoff spot. So like there is something on the line for the Warriors. It feels like a lot of the other teams, for example, like the Lakers are fourth or fifth or who even knows where they're at in the Western standings. I feel like nobody on the Lakers cares if they win or lose. They're like, just get us to the playoffs. We'll be fine once we get there. There are a lot of teams that feel that way. The Warriors are not. So it's not like Steph is just doing this for, it's not like it was in 2016 where whether they catch the Bulls or not, who cares? They're still going to be the best team. They're still probably going to make the final, whatever. They legitimately have to win these games. And that makes it must-see TV on top of just Steph's heroics in general. It has been incredible to watch. And in that regard, like that's why our list today, what we're going to do today is our athletes who fit this sort of mold of, I wanted it to be the athletes that you feel like are appointment TV, but I felt I had this epiphany as we were talking it out, Charlotte, off air, which is that Steph Curry, what's going on right now is it is in part appointment TV where if I told you the Warriors are playing tonight, you probably want to watch. But more so than that, I feel like there's a fear of missing out with Steph Curry, which is like a subtle nuance, which is like, I'm not going to clear my schedule to watch it, but I forgot that there was a Warriors game tonight and I get on the internet or I watch highlights. Like I find out that Steph Curry did XYZ.
Yes.
I am so upset that I was not watching that game.
Okay,
right?
well, I think I did. I forgot. I forgot that that's how we were doing our list, and I did it as my personal appointment TV.
Okay,
like
that's fine.
as the things that I like your version better, but I made this one thinking like I guess it's the same. For me, it's personal FOMO. Like if I get on the internet and I see that something happened with one of these athletes and I didn't see it, I'm mad at myself.
Yes. That's exactly what Steph Curry has become, and I think,
I guess I did make my list this way, but I guess it's not. My list isn't. Some people will be like, "What?" But bear with me.
No, they're okay. It'll make sense later. But I wanted to say that before we get into our list, just to like that is the part of that is so fascinating about Steph Curry is that. There have been a lot of obviously great NBA players that we've seen through the years. There are a lot of great players in the league right now. I still do not believe Steph Curry is the best player in the NBA. I believe at no point in time in his career has he been the best player in the NBA. But I also believe...
Who do you think's better right now?
LeBron James has been better as long as LeBron James is in the league. He's the best player in the league. But...
I was like, who could be better? Right.
But as long as the one thing that Steph has had that no one else, even LeBron hasn't been able to tap into, is the universally beloved. I feel like nobody says to themselves, "I hate Steph Curry," and if you do, it's like a reflection of you more so.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like,
it says way more about you.
I hate how he chooses mouth guard, and it's like, get over yourself. You don't
Right.
hate Steph Curry. Like, get over yourself. And number two,
It's like, how inadequate do you feel in your daily life?
and number two, because of that, because he is universally beloved, he has reached this point where it is just a cohesion, a sports fandom, like a shared experience, if you will, Charlotte. That like as Steph Curry is going nuts against the Philadelphia 76ers, it feels like everybody is in on it together, and we're all watching this together. And if you are not in on it with these people, you feel like you're out. You feel like you missed out. You feel like, I mean, I don't know. So like there have been other guys that have been on awesome stretches. Actually, there haven't been a lot of guys that have been on stretches like Steph's on right now. But no one has been able to tap into that where you show up at work the next day. And I know a lot of people are working remotely right now, but imagine you're not, and you show up at work and some coworker's like, "Did you see what Steph did last night?" And you're like, there's like something in you that's like, I missed it. And you get really upset that you missed that game. Yeah.
I saw a tweet the other day that was like, I feel like this Twitter was more fun when we all just watched stuff together and tweeted about it. And someone replied and was like, I can't remember who this was, so I apologize. But they were like, yeah, but streaming has done away with so much of that. And like, even NBA League Pass, like, sure, like, I feel like for baseball, it's Sunday Night Baseball. Like, okay, you can figure out what everybody's talking about if you're on sports Twitter and that's the big thing that's happening. Or like, the ABC games that they put on, or like the bigger one. But it's very hard to find something like the Meghan and Harry interview is the biggest example I can think of as something like, and that's not even sports. I mean, I guess March Madness. Let's put
Are
it
you
that
speaking
way.
of the monoculture, Charlotte? Is that the word we're looking for?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. So for Steph Curry to like break through the modern media landscape,
the
and
static,
to demand everyone's attention as he's going nuts during a regular season NBA game in April that theoretically should not matter. But it does matter for the Warriors, obviously. But like in general, there are not a lot of regular season games that America is getting excited about in the NBA right now. And Steph Curry has found a way to make us excited about it. And that is perhaps his greatest accomplishment.
That is perhaps the most exciting of all.
So with that in mind, let's do our list. These are our top five. As I said, these are my, I'll frame mine again. These are the fear of missing out guys that, I feel like there's a subtle nuance between clear my schedule, appointment TV, and I'm not necessarily going to, with all these guys, like definitely lock in every game that they play. But if something crazy happens with these guys, I get so upset that I wasn't watching it live.
So my version of that is very personal, because these are people you'd be like, okay, but like I feel bad because I care about them.
Well, I mean, it should be personal, right? Like that's the point of our list.
I know, but
number
three, you'll explain.
All right. Let's just do the list. Let's just do the list. Go ahead.
Okay.
You go first. I like when you start.
Mine is Shohei Ohtani.
Yes.
Because I did not see the game where he both pitched over 100 miles an hour and hit a home run off over 100 mile an hour, or hit a home. There was something with miles per hour that was absurd, and I had to go on Twitter, and then I turned the game on, but he had already done the amazing thing, and then later he got hurt, or I was like, you idiot. Like, why didn't you watch the thing when he did the amazing thing that everybody else got to see in real time?
He did the thing and I didn't see him do the thing.
Yes, and I hated it. I was like, and I love baseball.
I believe at the time I was watching him do the thing. It was in the first inning alone that Shohei Ohtani threw a 100 mile an hour pitch in the top of the first inning.
Yes.
And then he bats second, which is absolutely insane. For a pitcher to bat, he's in the American League, and no pitchers in the American League.
You bury them at 9.
In the American League, they don't even bat, and he was batting first of all, and then
I got them confused.
No, he's in the American League, and he still batted, and didn't just bat. He batted second in the lineup. So you see the lineup card that says pitcher second. You're like, that makes no sense. And then
I didn't even put that together. I was so focused on what he was doing. That's even more insane.
And then in the bottom half of the first inning, after the top half, he throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, strikes some guy out. It was the fastest, I believe it was the fastest pitch. This is the stat you probably saw. At the time, this was like 7 or 8 games into the season, so it's very early. But at the time, it was the fastest pitch thrown by a starting pitcher.
Yes.
And then he, in the bottom half of the inning, smashes a 450-foot home run, and it was like the hardest hit ball hit by any hitter so far in the season at that point.
Yeah.
And all in the same inning, all in the first inning to start out the game.
And I missed it. And I felt like such a dummy. And it was like, I just kept thinking of when Giselle tweeted, "My husband cannot throw and catch the ball at the same time."
Yes.
I was like, well.
And Otani's wife was like, "Mine can."
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I was like, well, check this guy out. Yeah, so that's my number 5.
That's a great pick. My number 5, and I'm not doing a bit. I swear to God, this is actually my number 5. I really thought about this. There's no bit. I'm gonna get out ahead of this and say there's no.
Are you sure?
I promise there's no bit.
Okay.
My number 5 is legitimately Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, because of who it is, I believe that it's not a bit because he is.
I love watching Aaron Rodgers play football, so more so than Patrick Mahomes, even who has become Patrick Mahomes for a lot of people has become the Steph Curry of football. We'll say like that's kind of the comparison people make in terms of like breaking the mold and having the confidence to do things that no one would even dare try. But for me, I enjoy watching Aaron Rodgers more than even Patrick Mahomes. When Aaron Rodgers is cooking, because he's more traditional. He plays, and like I played football growing up. I was a quarterback of my high school team, and I say that just to mention that like when I was playing football,
you were the man.
I was the man. I was awesome. I had a letter jacket that I wore all the time. I still wear it.
That's really cool.
I still wear it.
Okay.
No, when I was playing football, I would obviously watch like the NFL guys, and I would like try to, like I would be inspired by like I would watch Peyton Manning. I'd be like, what does Peyton do on these plays? Like maybe I could pick something up. I could learn something. And so I say that to say that when I watch Aaron Rodgers, I see a man who. That's the only guy. That's like the guy I'm most jealous of. I wish that like if I could be a take me back to my high school days. If I could play football like any quarterback that has ever lived, I would not want to play like Patrick Mahomes. I would in fact rather play like Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. He is the greatest thrower of a football I have ever seen in my life. It is insane how easy he makes it look, how cool he makes it look. And for that reason, I have him number 5 on my list. Because if I find out that Aaron Rodgers just went off and went nuts.
If you see an Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary on Twitter and you didn't see it in real time, you feel it sucks.
It's Sunday Night Football, and I went to bed early, and I wake up the next morning and I hear about Aaron Rodgers had these like two game-winning drives. Like he goes on a game-winning drive. He thinks it's for the game, but then the other team scores to win it, and then Aaron Rodgers is like, "No, bitch, I'm gonna do it again," and has another game-winning drive. And I wake up the next morning and miss that whole thing. I am so upset. I am very, very angry at myself. So Aaron Rodgers is number 5 on my list.
Okay, that's a great one. I agree with your list so far. My number 4 is Paige Beckers on UConn, because what she did this season was out of control, and there's someone I'm close to who is obsessed with UConn basketball, and I got really into it. And so it's really fun when you have a player where she became a one-name player. She became Paige. You know, like in women's college basketball, like you didn't have to say her last name, you just did Paige, and everybody knew who you were talking about.
But then her last name sounds like Buckets, kind of. So then it's like you kind of want to say the last name because it's Paige
Buckets.
Paige Buckets.
But it's Beckers, which is confusing for the spelling.
Right.
Took me a little while to figure that out, but we got there. But if I didn't see her play and she, did another insane, put the team on her back again, they had a lot of good players, but she was definitely incredible. And if I saw that she had done something I hated, that I missed it. Or if you log onto Twitter and you see tweets about her from like 6 hours ago where you're like, okay, it's too late for me to join in, but I want to watch the highlight and join in now. Right. So this year, that was a big one for me.
I'll back you up on that because when she was in the Elite Eight, when they were playing Baylor, right? Mm-hmm. That was the Baylor game. The men's Elite Eight was going on at the exact same time, and it was Loyola versus Oregon. That was the Sweet 16. Loyola versus Oregon State was going on at the same time. Yeah, that was.
I remember because you said you were like, I don't remember, but it was Loyola Oregon State game, and it was a big time woof.
and that game sucked. And I saw like people on Twitter were going nuts about the women's game. So I was like, the hell with it. Like, I know I'm supposed to be covering the men's tournament, but I want to watch Paige Beckers. And
Yeah,
play
totally.
Baylor.
Like, you can't not watch it.
Yeah. Give me that. So I that's a good pick. I like it. Number 4 for me is Luka Doncic.
That's such a good one.
He's gotten to that point where I will say, like, there is a little, I had a slight tinge of anti-Luka feeling as he was heading into the NBA, because going into the draft, so many people loved this guy and they could not articulate why they loved him. It was just like he was European and they loved the idea of him. But like, if you press people on it, you're like, so tell me, like, what is it about his game that you love? They're like,
yeah,
I don't know, he won EuroLeague MVP. I know that. He was 17 when he did it. Like, that's pretty good, right? And I'm like, yeah.
You're like, what else?
But like, what about his game? And you're like, I don't know. I've never actually watched him play.
Like,
I'm like, well, then you can't.
He's a big white guy. I identify with him.
Yeah. I was like, you can't be a fan of the guy if you've never seen him play, can you? And they're like, no, watch, we will be. And that's like kind of how people were. And then he gets traded for Trae Young on draft night, and they get pitted up against each other. And, you know, Luka has like a better rookie year. Trae Young is now balling out, but like, people who loved Luka earlier, you now have to like crap on Trae Young, which feels completely unfair because Trae Young is awesome in his own right. Yeah. Anyway, like, I didn't love the way the Luka fan base started. I didn't love the start of it. So in that regard, some small part of me still doesn't love it when Luka goes nuts and people get 10% more excited about Luka than they would if it was any other player doing what Luka's doing. You know what I mean? But having said all that,
drives the feeling, though, I think.
Sort of. But having said all that, I'll say, in spite of all of that, Charlotte, I still, when the internet is abuzz about Luka Doncic, I feel like I need to have seen what happened. Like, the most recent example, he hits a game-winning floater from the 3-point line to beat the Grizzlies last week. I was not watching the game. I saw the highlights like 12 hours after the fact, and I was like, damn it, that would have been nice to be watching that live, because that would have blown my mind to see that happen live. So
you're picking all the people that I didn't really consider so far, and now that you say it, I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, yeah, totally. All right, my number.
How about this? I'll create an NFT of my list and sell it to you, and you can have it for yourself.
No, I can't afford that. Are you kidding me? I don't have 60 grand. I'm not Trevor Lawrence. Okay, my number 3 is Joe Burrow.
Okay.
And I'm putting this because I think he is I have so much fun watching Joe Burrow play football. Mm-hmm. And I think from that national championship game, where he was just electric and he plays so confidently. I don't know that I've ever seen a rookie in any sport step onto the field or the court or whatever and be like, oh yeah, no, I got this. And you believe him. Mm-hmm. And the level, like, he has an it factor that I can't quite believe. Like, he played on the Bengals. His O-line was a colander. He eventually paid the price for that. You know, he tore up his knee, and it seems like he's healing up okay, hopefully. And I was livid at the Bengals the entire time that they had him, that they just kept letting him get hit.
You're like a mother watching him. Yeah, it's and you're just like, take care of my son, please.
I became like deeply maternal about, like, I couldn't watch, but I also couldn't not watch. So I just feel very invested in him as a player, and I also think he's amazing to watch, especially because he's on a bad team, because he does things that players on good teams don't have to do. To overcompensate for the fact that he's not being protected or he's not getting the help that he needs. And so I just, every game, I want to see what Joey B is up to.
He's got an ultra green light, like you said, because his team sucks. And if we're going to win this game, I'm going to have to do some insane stuff. So I'm going to try to do the insane stuff. And it's not going to work because I'm a rookie and we suck, but I'm going to try it anyway. Here we go.
But like a few times, it looks like it could.
Yeah, looks like it could.
And that's really all you can ask for.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's the best. His confidence is that was crazy to watch, the LSU year, especially just given that he was like, he transferred to LSU because he couldn't get on the field at Ohio State, and I feel like a lot of guys in that situation would not be confident, and I certainly wouldn't be if I was like a bench warmer. I mean, I was literally a bench warmer. That's my brand.
I was like, you were, dude.
Like if I would have transferred to another team, I could have transferred to a smaller school at some point in my college career and probably got some minutes, but I probably would have like not. I think I was damaged goods. I think like the first 2 years that I'm on the bench, I'm like, I suck. And it's just in my head that I suck. And this guy had the exact opposite.
And then you turn that into a brand, and here we are.
And Joe Burrow had the exact opposite approach, which is that I'm awesome, and if Ohio State doesn't see it, then screw them. Although he likes Ohio State, he's a Buckeye, but
yeah, like what an unbelievable attitude. I feel like it's very hard. Actually, it can go both ways though, you know, because like I have had the mentality of like if somebody tells me I can't do something or like I'm not the person for the job, I'm like I am going to destroy you with how successful I'm about to be. You know, like which who knows if that's healthy, but you know, and Joe Burrow seemed to come from not a place of vindictive nature. So I think maybe he's also a better person than I am. Who's to say?
I'm usually that way, but every so often the haters are right. And they're like, you'll never be able to. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Good point.
I'll never be able to. So
if I were a college athlete, I mean, you know, that one semester of squash, I was like, yeah, it's not for me. The haters are right. So I feel you. I get it.
The first time I played squash at Dartmouth, the haters said...
Keep me humble. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Yep. Just hit me over the head with a squash racket.
Number 3 on my list. Again, I stress, this is not shtick. I'm not doing this as a bit. He's legitimately number 3 on my list. A man that you have come to know pretty well because I've talked about him ad nauseum on this podcast. His name is Bryson DeChambeau. And he hits the ball an absolute mile.
No, Mark, you don't have to worry that I think these are bits. It's a bit if you're like fooling me somehow. Genuinely, I know that you're obsessed with Aaron Rodgers and with Bryson.
I am obsessed with Bryson. And again, I reiterate, I am not a fan of Bryson. I'm not a fan of in the sense that I want Bryson to win. I don't want Bryson to win. I don't care. He's a goober. He's a loser. I'm a fan of him.
But you're very invested in Bryson.
I'm invested. Yeah, he's great theater. It's great theater. I got to see what happens next. If you tell me that's any golf match, anything that happens with Bryson DeChambeau, if I was not watching, I am mad that I was not watching.
So you're watching Bryson DeChambeau for the articles, is what you're saying?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay. Just want to be clear.
They're good articles, Charlotte. They're great articles.
Yeah, no, a lot of really in-depth reporting really makes you think. You know, that's why I like him.
He hits the ball a mile. He hits the piss out of it. We know that. That is what gets you in the building. That's what gets you. That is the cover shot of the magazine, if you will. Right. But the articles are things such as complaining to the rules officials. The articles are things such as press conferences where he calls Augusta National actually like a par 67 or whatever it was that he said. And then he goes out and almost misses the cut.
And when he says, I've got a little something in my bag, and you're like, what?
Yes.
You're like, are you okay?
Everything. It's the video that he made of him and his buddies working out together. I don't know if you saw that. That was the douchiest, corniest thing. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
It was like, it made J.J. Watt look like the coolest guy on earth. Nothing gives me anxiety more in sports. I feel like right now than someone saying the phrase, "Did you see what Bryson did?" And I have no idea what they're talking about. I'm like, I need to know. What did I miss? I gotta hold on. Hold that thought. I'm gonna grab my phone. I gotta figure it out. So,
I love it. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 2, I cheated. Sorry, there are 3 people, but they're all tennis people. And tennis people, like, you know what I mean?
Tennis.
Tennis, literally. Number 3, the big tennis thing it's Naomi Osaka, Roger Federer, Serena Williams. Like, I care about tennis a lot, and I love playing it, and I think it's a great sport, but I forget when it's on. And so if I see that something is happening with one of these 3 people, or if I hear after the fact that I missed it, I hate myself. Like, I hate myself. Like, I'm like, why didn't you know? Like, can't you do the time difference?
I was doing nothing today. Why did I not watch this?
Exactly. I haven't been doing anything for like 14 months now, you know? Like, what was I possibly doing? And a little bit with Nadal and not as much with Djokovic, but these 3, like, these are the 3 that I'm, you know, one of them in the beginning of the career, and then the 2 I'm like, I need to catch Federer and Serena while they're still doing this. So that's my I hope you can forgive me for cramming 3 in there.
Do you think if Serena Williams wanted to, she could go play squash and be the greatest squash player of all time as well?
Yeah. Yes. Well, yeah. I had to think. I was like, well, skill wise, it's the same thing. It's slightly different. Like the fact
that was that girl trying. That's full circle. That's the girl trying kombucha where she was like, Um, yeah, is it simple? I'm being serious. I really don't know anything about squash, and you're the squash expert on the show. Would it be close enough that she could just pick up a squash racket in her
Yeah.
later years and just dominate everybody?
I think so. I think
All
so.
right.
I mean, it's a different wrist motion, and it's a smaller spin. Okay, shut
Her
up.
wrist goes this way.
Tell me
We need it to go this
your
way.
stupid list. Who's your number stupid 2 on your stupid list?
Number 2 on my list is the man himself that inspired the list, Steph Curry. I have nothing else to really say. I mean, we've already talked about him a little bit, but yeah,
I'm glad you put him on there. I didn't put him on because I hoped that you would.
Yeah, I had to. I didn't really want to because it's like I wanted to use that as a jumping off point to talk about other people, but I mean, I really thought about it and I was like, yeah, Steph belongs on the list. I get that feeling of like I can't believe I missed this. I can't believe because it isn't the same. When you go watch highlights, it's not the same as watching it live. Watching it live, you have no idea what's going to happen. Highlights, you know what's going to happen. Someone sent you a link that's like, check out this awesome shot. So when you're clicking on it, you're primed to see something awesome. But when you're watching live,
Yes, right. That's what it is.
Right?
You just, I never really, I was like, why do I, because the surprise factor is gone.
it's the surprise. You have no idea, and and watching it live, you kind of know it's coming. That Steph is going to make, like, if the game is on the line and he's got the ball in his hands, you feel confident that he's going to do something insane.
But you don't know.
But you don't know. We've seen him not. We saw in Game 7 of the Finals in 2016, he had the ball and Kevin Love put the clamps on him and he couldn't
people
score.
forget.
People forget that. So you never know what's going to happen. So when he does do it, and you were there to witness it, it's pretty awesome. And all I can think when I see stuff like that is, man, I wish I owned that NFT of that shot right there.
Oh my god, I love it. All right, number 1 on my list is the Nets when everyone is healthy, because I feel like this is something that it hasn't happened. It's happened 5 or 6 times, but when Harden, Kyrie, and KD are all healthy, I'm watching that, and and people are going to be talking about it, and I'm going to feel like a fool if I didn't watch that.
And the discourse that comes out of it is just number 1, how unstoppable they are. Number 2, how they don't guard anybody. So like that's fun too. And is that going to bite them? And could they beat the Lakers? And would they beat the Lakers?
And is it too much personality? And are they going to be able to make it work even as they're currently making it work?
Yeah,
and just like
I just saw it work, but will it work?
Yes, exactly. Like the storylines that swirl that I want to, that you can't escape, and I don't want to escape. I love it. I love the Nets for their combination of physical prowess and propensity for drama. Like that is everything I've ever wanted, and they give it to us. And so whenever everybody's playing, I'm gonna be watching it.
That's a good call, but unfortunately they're not all
No
going to play
offense to Patrick.
Unfortunately, they're not all of them are going to play together until like Game 3 of the NBA Finals. I think that'll be the first game
Mark,
they all.
You know what? I'll be watching. I'll be watching.
I think we'll all be locked in. Number 1 on my list. I hate when this happens, when we have the same guy or gal on our list and we overlap. I really hate this, but at the same time,
I love it. I love when we overlap.
this is genuine. This was genuinely the top 5 in order, so I'm going to stick with it. My number 1 is Shohei Ohtani.
Wow.
He's number 1 for me. He is. I thankfully was blessed enough to watch the game live. I believe it was Easter Sunday because I was in Indianapolis and I was over at my parents' house for Easter. I think that game, the game where Ohtani had the first inning, and I think we just threw the game on. Oh, you know what it was? It was after the women's. Was it after the women's? Was it the Monday night?
Yes, it was the Sunday night game.
No, Sunday night after the women's title,
championship.
the title game. That's what it was. Yeah, Sunday night after the women's title game. It was Easter Sunday. And I was at my parents' house for Easter because I was in Indianapolis for the Final Four. And that game came on, and I watched it. And Ohtani has been on the Angels for a couple years now, right? This is his second or third year? Third year, I think. And I remember when he came over to play for LA, and the idea that he's all-star caliber hitter, all-star caliber pitcher, and what are they going to make him do? Which team was he going to go to was a big talk because I'm a Cubs fan, obviously, and as a fan of a team in the National League, I was crossing my fingers that he would want to hit and pitch, and I was like, come to the National League, Shohei. We need you at the Cubs. You can do both. And then he goes to the American League, and I was like, man, that's a bummer. Because then early on, he was on days he would pitch, he would not hit. And then when he would not pitch, he was a designated hitter. And it was just like, it felt like I wanted to see the whole package, Charlotte. We wanted to see it all at once. And then it all came together on that one special night. It happened. And now I'm hooked to where I have to watch anytime. He just came back, by the way. He had like a finger blister and wasn't pitching.
Yeah.
And he just came back and threw 4 scoreless innings. But he walks a ton of people. I will say that. But it doesn't matter. He's striking dudes out. He's throwing 100 miles an hour. He's already got 4 home runs in like 14 games. He could conceivably, and this is why I'm locked in on Ohtani.
Yes. Go there.
He could
go there, Mark.
conceivably,
Go there.
Charlotte, in his career, win a Cy Young and win a Silver Slugger award, both, maybe in the same year. And if that happened,
let's hit. Is it? That's not. You need a word for that.
Babe Ruth? I don't know. You know how many times growing up I heard stories about Babe Ruth, and I thought, like, I don't understand why this doesn't happen anymore. I went to high school, but this is back to me going to high school with great. I've talked about this on the show before. One of the many professional athletes I went to high school with was a guy by the name of Lance Lynn, who is now a pitcher for the Chicago White Sox, and he throws gas. He's awesome. He's the best. I love Lance. But Lance Lynn was one of the greatest baseball players in the history of the state of Indiana. I watched him his senior year. He was a pitcher, obviously, in high school, was completely unhittable. But he also, when he wasn't pitching, was playing first base. And I watched this man hit, like, he must have averaged 3 home runs a game. It was unbelievable. He mashed the absolute shit out of the ball. Like, I've never seen a guy hit a baseball. And the reason I bring that up is that I have known Lance Lynn from high school, and I've known how great he could have gone to the majors and played first base and hit 40 home runs a year and been awesome. But he decided to be a pitcher. And when Lance Lynn was pitching for the Cardinals and would have to step into the batter's box, it looked like he had never held a baseball bat in his life, and it drove me insane, Charlotte. I just wanted to scream it. I wanted to, like, call our mutual friends and be like, what the hell happened to Lance? I don't understand. Like, he should be able to hit the fastballs at least that are just coming right down the pipe. I don't get it. What's going on? And anyway, I say that to say that it's frustrating knowing that some of these pitchers could be great hitters if they just wanted to be. And Shohei Ohtani, bless his heart, said, I want to be that.
Yes.
He said, Mark Titus, I hear your call. And I want to satisfy you. I'm coming to America, and I'm going to mash home runs, and I'm going to throw the ball 100 miles an hour. And if you do not watch, you are going to regret it. And he's absolutely right.
I love it.
So
I
he's
love
number
it.
one. There you go.
He nailed you. Wow. When did he say that to you?
He texted me. It was
okay.
it was a text, so I'll have to get the timestamp. He didn't actually.
Just screenshot that and send it over to me so I can verify your sources. These are good lists.
These were fun lists. These were good lists.
I'm proud of us.
Yeah, we did.
I love when we do well.
Yeah, I like your list. I like your top 5 had 9 people on it. That was good.
Yeah, thank you. I could have been a lawyer. I'm very good at loopholes.
Anything else
There's
before
a way
we go?
around it. I'll find it. Is there anything else? Well, send us emails. thepeoplesportspodcast@gmail.com. I want to know your top 5. Yeah,
tell us who we left off. I'm curious. What's the most egregious that we? Mahomes probably, right?
Yeah, people are gonna say Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, yeah.
Or they're gonna say.
I don't know.
I feel like Tom Brady.
Tom Brady could be, yeah.
I don't think so as much as only in the playoffs. Like, if there's a random Bucks game and he's having a good game and I miss it, I don't care.
There are a lot of guys in basketball. I feel like you can make your whole list be NBA guys, honestly. So I mean,
like anyone on the Jazz or the Suns right now. Like,
Jokic is good too on the Nuggets. Like, I see Jokic stat lines and I'm like, man, I wish I would have watched that last night. Joel Embiid is up there.
You know who's gotten sneaky, like, amazing again is Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Watching him is fun. He's
fun.
like a general out there.
Yeah.
He's like, you go here, and then they do, and then he like goes to the basket anyway, and I love it.
All time, Chris Paul is the greatest pointer in NBA history. I have him above Magic Johnson. Finally, he's eclipsed Magic Johnson as the greatest.
When you say Chris Paul, I picture him pointing at somebody.
That's why it's called the point guard.
I know, but
it's actually not. But
he's doing it.
It should be.
I'm like, yeah, I know.
He's one of the greatest pointers in the history of basketball. I'm curious to see what people think who we left off because there are a lot of good ones out there, and I only stuck to 5, you only stuck to 9, and we left a lot off of our list. So write us, let us know your thoughts on the Super League. How close was I to getting it right? I felt like I did a pretty good job.
Yeah, and tell me if I got NFTs right, and tell me if someone wants to turn a piece of toast into an NFT. Let me know.
That should be. We should do that. I don't know how. We need to research how to create NFTs. I imagine it's not a cheap process.
We're very smart.
Though.
We'll figure it out.
All right. Well, that's the show. Write us in, and we'll have fun talking about those things.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Hey pals, thanks for watching the People Sports Podcast YouTube channel. For more of mine and Mark's very weird rabbit holes, stick around, watch more. You can subscribe, smash that subscribe button. You know you want to. We're going to give you all the weird stuff we possibly can.